While reports of drought and food shortage have repeatedly jolted both the Kenyan public and the government to the reality of just how unstable the country's food situation is, analysts point out that this perennial crisis that year after year leaves scores of Kenyans dead from starvation should come as a little surprise, considering the country's land use and agriculture policies, coupled with a shoestring investment budget in the sector the country looks up to for food.
There has been very little investment in agriculture in terms of the areas which will support in the long-term productivity of agriculture, especially in making sure that farmers have access to good varieties of seed that can have higher yields than the 1 ton per hectare that is traditional in Africa. Maybe they can have 3 tons, 4 tons, or 5 tons per hectare.
Indeed, a paltry 8% of Kenya's over 569,000 square kilometers of land is arable. For its food, Kenya's population of 36 million people depends on this area indicated in green on this map. 80% of Kenya's land is rated as either arid or semi-arid. Agriculture experts, however, point out that this situation is no excuse for the country's shaky food security, citing countries like Israel and Libya, which in spite of having nearly all their land under deserts, are not only self-sufficient, but are also leading exporters of agricultural produce like fruits.
It is a shame that in Africa, it's only 4 to 5% of the African farming land is irrigated. That's a shame. I mean, in Asia today is about 40%. If you have 40% of your land irrigated, you are already sure of at least 75 to 80% of your production. I mean, it has to be a terrible, terrible year for you to lose all of the other 20%.
While the government is in the process of developing a comprehensive land policy, the utilization of the country's limited arable land is currently left to the discretion of the farmers, mainly small-scale and lacking in professional training. The cultural importance attached to land ownership and a steadily growing population has seen the land subdivided into small units of little agricultural value. Kenyans, being largely conservative, have resisted any attempts at limiting the size of land ownership units.
As time goes on, the land unit size become so small that they are not really economic to operate, except you are doing it very intensively. You are there day in, day out, like small plots in South Asia. They are very small, much smaller than Africa, but they are very productive. So we have to balance the land size, technology, and what we do with the land.
Successive governments have also been faulted for placing undue emphasis on cash crops at the expense of food crops. In recent times, cash crops like sugarcane, coffee, tea and pyrethrum have proved frustrating to the farmers who have turned to uprooting them, leaving the farmers with no money to buy food and wasting the land's food-producing potential. Kenya's food security crisis have almost become an annual cycle of shame, calling for urgent intervention to ensure that not another life is lost to the embarrassing fate of death by starvation. Newton Debu, KTN Weekend Prime.